know if there's any conflict of interest amongst the council members this evening with the agenda. No? Thank you very much. Councillor Snively?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to bring add into council tonight under new business.
Larry, we'll get to that in a second. Okay. Thank you very much.
Item 3 is the adoption of the published agenda.
Support. Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
That's when he adds new stuff.
Okay, Councillor Snively.
Through you, Mayor McDermott, under new business, I'd like to bring up the intersection at Center and Walker Road in Harrow. And the second item would be trucks on our Class B roads. Thank you.
Anything else? Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship, I know there is an item as per the Greater Essex County District School Board under new business already. I'll be speaking to that also.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? Thank you. All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 4A, adoption of the October 5th, 2015 regular council meeting minutes.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, supported by Councillor Snively. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 5, public presentations for Communities in Bloom.
And Mr. Sweet.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. What I'm here for is I'd like to remind everyone again, the town of Essex was the winner of this year's national competition for Communities in Bloom for the population category of 9,000 to 20,000. So right here. The official announcement was made October 3rd and at the National Symposium and Award Ceremonies in Kamloops. The town of Essex received the top rating of 5 blooms in their category, as well as special recognition for the Harrow Veterans Memorial Park. We're very excited to have won the top honors and would like to thank our residents and businesses for all their hard work, maintaining their properties and working together in this unified effort to beautify our community. Our local Communities in Bloom committee has been very successful in the past by earning 5 blooms at the provincial level, but now receiving 5 blooms at the national and also winning our category. We're extremely proud of this achievement. This is very exciting, but the achievement cannot happen without the hard work and time commitment from our local Communities in Bloom committee. At this time, I'd just like to turn it over to the chair, Paul Tonin.
Thanks, Doug. I just want to send a special thank you again out to Council for supporting Communities in Bloom initiative. I know it's something that you guys put a lot of time and funds into. A special thank you to our current Council Rep, Bill Caxero, and our former Council Rep, Richard Malash, who's with us from kind of the beginning and has taken us this far. It certainly wasn't a one-year effort that got us here. It's been a journey. And Richard was part of that, so I wanted to thank him for that. I also wanted to thank all of my fellow council members. We put a lot of work and ideas into this, and it's really nice to see it paying off. Specifically, Ron Rogers, our former chair, who kind of brought me up in the ropes and taught me what I know about the committee, and I'm learning every day. Yeah, just a thank you. And also to Nathan, I think our horticulturist for the town. He's been a big part of that. I know it was a big thing that they wanted us to get, and we got it, and he helped us get where we are. So just a general thank you, everyone who's helped out. Thank you very much, and we look forward to more good results in the future.
At this time, we'd like to recognize the local committee members and ask them to come up for their photo. First, I'd like to start with Bloomer and Petunia, the town ambassadors. This is one thing that the judges this year recognize, that we were very unique by taking on this initiative to actually have town ambassadors represent the town. So this is something they loved. And I think for the town it's been a great resource for us. Chair Paul Tonin. Paul, if you want to kind of go up, you can take the awards with you. Aaron Marentet, Brenda Dunn, Mary Malash, Ron Rogers, Tim O'Hagan, Councillor Bill Caxero, Janice Alocio. Unfortunately, not everybody could be here tonight. We are missing Tiffany Gill-Carew. She was our summer student who put together the profile book and a lot of work. John Olson, Jay Affleck, Deb Scoley, and Mary Ellen Morton-Collins. And the one person, and Paul did mention, was Nathan Hamilton, who couldn't be here tonight, but I think people can recognize through the town the amount of work that he's done getting us where we are. So thank you very much for all your hard work, and thank you for everything.
Usually when Petunia and Bloomer show up, at least one person says, "Who are they?" Petunia and Bloomer.
Item 6, unfinished business. A is a resolution from the September 21st, 2015 regular council meeting regarding the Police Services Board. And Inspector Miller.
Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, I'd like to move to defer this till later in the meeting. I got a text from Glenn Miller. Something came up with work, and he's on his way, but he got detoured, so he will be here as soon as possible.
Item 7A would be the Building Department report for September 30th, 2015.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Malash, supported by Councillor Snively. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item B, Corporate Services Report Number 2015-017 regarding the 2016 Spay and Neuter Voucher Program and Trap, Neuter, and Release Program.
Supported by Councillor Bundy and also Councillor Vokes. Any questions? Councillor Bundy.
Thank you. I just want to thank administration and council for bringing this forward late in 2015 rather than waiting until 2016. It's an important program, and I believe it's working in the town of Essex. And council support is vital to reducing the number of unwanted pets out there. So it's awesome, and I'm glad that that we are that we are using the program again. So thank you.
All in favor? Motion carries. Councillor Caxero.
To your worship, if you'd like to go back to item 6 now, we can, as Glenn Miller has arrived.
If you would like to introduce Mr. Miller as Chair, Police Service Board, Bill, thanks.
Thank you. Through your worship, I'll actually present I don't know if the correspondence was sent out to council, but we have a very brief presentation on behalf of the board, and then Glenn will present the second part. So I'll go to the front there and present our presentation, and then Glenn can step in. So I'd like to thank council for allowing me to take this opportunity. I know it's been a while. This has been kind of in motion for a couple of months anyway. As a board, we certainly had time to discuss the fact that the contract manager position was dropped. The board itself felt there wasn't consultation with the board with respect to that decision. It was a decision that was made on the spot, if you'll all remember back in Harrow when that was presented to us, the contract. I believe it was back in February or March of this year. So here's what we have to present to you tonight from the board. Prior to the implementation of the latest OPP contract, the OPP police unit in the town of Essex had established itself as a top-notch police force. In fact, our force was ranked, and in the presentation it says 12th, but that was in 2010. It's actually 22nd in Canada. And this was accomplished at considerable savings compared to the previous traditional local town force. Perhaps one of our greatest strengths is that this was accomplished without losing our local flavor. We have been able to maintain a close-knit relationship where the public feels that their force is an integral part of the community. One of the main reasons for this trust was the existence of the role of the contract manager on our force. This officer is an integral part of the force, had many inclusive duties, and there is a list of duties attached to this presentation, but most importantly, the community saw him or her as the regular go-to person, someone they knew and they could contact immediately for service, someone who was always there, and it's referred to as kind of the chief of police position in the OPP model. The contract manager was destined to be a critical player in the development of a community hub. We currently don't use this model in Essex County. There are some models being used in other parts of the province. Up in Sudbury, I believe, is one. And I believe in North Bay also. We do have a mental health unit that is very successful, and that's kind of a part of what a community hub could be. The community hub team is a new concept currently under consideration and being developed in Ontario policing philosophy. Municipalities in Northern Ontario, ahead of the curve, are reporting great success in their communities in their area of proactive policing, identifying potential trouble spots and dealing with them before they become active. Basically, the hub consists of teams of local community support people, social workers, mental health workers, service club coordinators, police officers, and so on. The implementation of our new policing contract saw the removal of the position of the contract manager, which quickly changed the nature of our force. In addition to redefining the duties of all our officers who had to pick up all the duties as outlined in the role of the contract manager. Now, not only have we lost the consistent community link with the public, but we have also lost an integral part of the community hub currently under consideration. The contract manager was to be a key member of that team, familiar with the immediate community, and an important contributor to the team. The Police Service Board feels very strong that the role of the contract manager is an integral and necessary to the continued and future success of the Essex Police Force. Accordingly, we unanimously recommended that the position of the contract manager be reconsidered by the Town of Essex Council, and that this position be included in the structure of the Essex OPP Police Unit under the 2016 budget plan. So, and just briefly, it is for consistency. That position, some of the things, for example, that they take care of is seized goods. If there isn't a consistent person in that position, that can all go very much amok. And it's very important that we keep that very clear and concise, keep track of that stuff, along with being there, being a presence on a regular basis in the office, so that if somebody comes through the doors, it's the same person that they're talking to all the time. The last person that was in that position was Rick Mailing. He retired. Before him, it was JR, who I'm sure most are familiar with. And I believe they exemplified how they were very, very much integrated into the community, and they were looked at with a lot of respect from the community. So I'll pass it off to Glenn, and he can, I guess, continue on with his part.
Great. Thank you very much. And I want to apologize at the onset for my voice. Your Worship, members of Council, ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently joined by Sergeant Kevin Hummel from our Municipal Policing Bureau General Headquarters. I'd certainly like to thank all of you for the opportunity of speaking this evening. The economics of today's policing requires us to focus on budgets, accountability, developing efficiencies, and perhaps most important is meeting the expectations of the communities that we serve. Today's crime is more sophisticated, organized, mobile, and technically complex. The OPP aims not only to be responsive to crime, but to predict and prevent crime from occurring in the future. The OPP service level is no longer defined in terms of contractual hours of service or FTEs, full-time employment. In order to meet municipal and provincial policing obligations, the OPP operates on an integrated service delivery model and is based on a resource sharing approach where OPP detachments provide policing services to more than one municipality. As policing services are provided under the integrated service delivery model, there are no police officers assigned specifically to a municipality unless a municipality has a dedicated enhanced position in their agreement. To put the issue on the table and in the forefront of this discussion, I would like to discuss the importance of having a senior OPP sergeant assigned in Essex, as it was done previously. The value, I believe, is reflected in the town of Essex being identified in the top percentile of safest communities in Canada. This is an enviable position to be in, and in no small part speaks to the significant value in having a dedicated sergeant with responsibility and accountability directly to the town of Essex. The public expectations of us is varied, but what I believe is always perceived is our ability to provide or help provide guidance or direction on a wide variety of issues that impact the citizens that we serve. The issues we often listen to from the public and help to resolve are not police related. However, being able to facilitate an immediate response often mitigates without further engagement by the police. Daily linkages to the network of community leaders, your local administration, and services provided is, in my opinion, critical to ensuring safe and secure communities. A single point of contact provides continuity and consistency in decision making and provides significant value to the community who have come to appreciate and expect to be able to personally know and speak with their town sergeant. Our contract sergeants have been heavily invested in their communities and also share an emotional attachment to a myriad of issues. They know their town, they know its people, and they know the issues that are facing the police. Demands on already finite resources are significantly impacted for requests for service to non-criminal issues, changes in government, social services and programs, requirements of legislation, and the ever-present emergent events that occur without notice are part of daily policing. Linkage with a community, which is part of the duties of a contract manager, provides ongoing leadership, ensuring excellence in the delivery of policing services in the town of Essex.
Would you like to add anything further, Councillor Caxaro? Or maybe Kevin? No?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Any questions? Council members of our delegation? No? Oh. First of all, we'll come to our CEO, Russ Phillips, and then Councillor Bjartman.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. As you know, I regularly attend the Public Police Service Board meetings, and during more recent meetings, I wanted to go on record with Council that while I have administration has not fully supported this in past, I do want to go on record as saying that Inspector Miller has, as he's been reviewing the operations with us, and I've been a key listener at those meetings, I too am convinced, as the board is, of the Police Services Board, that to the detachment's benefit, that contract manager position is a very valuable and needed asset to the operations. I remain convinced of that, and that I support the board's recommendation of adding back in the position, or to provide for funds for that. I am also assured by Inspector Miller that that position will be more available to us as an administration, as a day-to-day administration, and it be available more to council. And that's something we probably have not taken up of in the past, or in the past few years, but I'm assured by Glenn that that is something we can work together on as well. So if there is, beyond the police matters aspect, but if there's an opportunity to understand more from an operational perspective, I'm assured by Glenn that that's something that we can make call on from time to time as needs arise. So I did want to let council know that as the Director of Corporate Services report also speaks to, is that the funding has been set aside. There is funding in this year's budget, and there would be funding set up into the future for that if that's council's decision to add that position back in.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Bjartman.
Thank you, through your worship. Thanks for being here and making your presentation. Just a couple of questions with regard to the service. The contract sergeant would be somebody from our local, from our town? If I could just be clear on that. The contract sergeant would be somebody who is from the town of Essex?
Well, the contract sergeant would be an individual that would be selected through a process that we run in order to be fair and consistent across for all OPP members. It would have to certainly be someone that would have knowledge of your particular town and understand the intricacies that would be expected.
Okay, so follow up. So what you're saying, it's not necessarily somebody who knows a small town, somebody who knows how things work in a small town, but not necessarily from our town, considering our town is so big now between Essex Center and Colchester. There's quite a bit to learn if this is somebody who's coming in. I was listening to the presentation. You're saying it would be somebody, you know, who knows the community, who knows people are familiar with them, you know, easy to talk. I was expecting it would be somebody from our local. The other question I would have about that, it's a senior sergeant. Once somebody becomes a senior sergeant and you're in this position, how many years do they stay in this position?
Sir, generally what we do is we assign them to a tenure position, and again that gives them an opportunity to fulfill the requirements of that particular position, and it also affords an equal opportunity for all police officers to compete and one day, hopefully, if that was a career path for them, to attain that particular position.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Malash?
Yes, through you, Your Worship. Originally, I was kind of leaning towards keeping the position, but there was a recommendation from administration that we did not. And now that administration's moved back in the direction that, maybe there is some worth to this position, and with the recommendation from the Police Services Board, I would say that I'm going to be supporting the recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Anything from anyone else? Councillor Bjorkman?
If I can, then further to that, I think as a council, we need to spend a little more time. What is the actual cost of this position per year?
Your Worship, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I provided a report, Councillor, to the Director of Corporate, it's Corporate Services Division, to Donna Hunter. She has the numbers, but I can certainly let Council know if you'd like.
No, yes, she did share that with us. I don't have it. It was about in the neighborhood of $170,000, I believe.
Correct. It's $176,669. There are some startup costs as well that we looked at and certainly revised. And again, Donna has those additional costs. It's an additional, I believe it's close to $3,000 in addition to the $176,669.
Okay. In light of that, I would make a motion that we defer this, and we have a meeting of council with administration. It's a big dollar amount for all of us to look at, and I think we need to be really clear on what we're getting, and do that at a separate meeting.
Supported by Councillor Bodney. Questions to the motion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Oh, yes, sir.
If I can, Your Worship, just for Council, for your information, in case there is a positive motion coming out of this topic, traditionally, in terms of process, we would be looking at an amending agreement. We're probably not looking until January 1st of next year, just because the amending agreement language still hasn't gone through our legal services branch. Quite frankly, you'd be the first in the province to have an amending agreement with the new billing model. So keep me in the loop anyways, and I know that certainly Inspector Miller will keep me in the loop on your decision, and then we can go from there. But like I say, the language still isn't hammered out with our amending agreements.
Thank you. Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, I think this is something that we should discuss in a very, very, very near future, and let's make our decision. So I would recommend within a week we should sit down and discuss this and get it resolved.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion? We've done that. Okay. Now we need a recommendation to receive their report presentation. Councillor Snively, Councillor Bjorkman, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Item C, Community Services Report Number 2015-25 regarding dog park location for Essex Center.
Moved by Councillor Bodney, supported by Deputy Mayor Malage. Any questions? Comments? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item D, Community Services Report Number 2015-026 regarding Recreation Management System class migration.
Moved by Councillor Bundy, supported by Deputy Mayor Malage. Questions? Councillor Bjorkman.
Just check. Yeah, I just wanted to say it's a great thing to do to partner with the school board. to be able to, that's my understanding of this, right, is that the program itself is going to be shared, the cost between the school board and the council equally? Is that
Your worship, this is an upgrade to our current software system. We do all the bookings and registrations. Since the majority happens at the recreation complex, that's where the school board is contributing their portion to it.
No, I think that's great. Any way we can partner with somebody else, so all in favor. Thank you.
There, Councillor Casero.
Through your worship, in the financial impact, Doug, it mentions that 12,500 be funded through 2016. I assume that's 2,500 since our portion is only 10,000.
To your worship, in the budget, it will show a total of 20,000, with half that being retrieved back through the school board.
Thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item E, Corporate Services, Report Number 2015-019, the results of the request for proposal for the supply and install door access control system.
Moved by Councillor Casero. Supported by Councillor Snively. Councillor Casero? Questions? No? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item F, Office of the CAO, Report Number 2015-05, regarding tall grass and weed cutting of Evan Vivier's lands at 80 Maidstone Avenue, Essex.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Item G, Corporate Services, Report Number 2015-011, in regards to an appeal hearing with respect to issuance of a notice to muzzle for Rollins. And at this time, we need 3 members of council to sit on the appeal committee.
We have one volunteer, Councillor Bondi. I can sit on that committee. Councillor Snively, thank you very much, 3 of us. Now, motion to receive. Oh, motion to appoint us 3 people, Councillor Bondi and Councillor Bjorkman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, and motion to receive the report. No? Don't have to do that. Okay.
It's in there. You already did that.
Our CEO, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, Councillor. On a point of order, looking at the agenda, there was an item under correspondence and, under presentations. And in that, there was it was under unfinished business. There is Corporate Services Report 2015-18, and in that there are recommendations that the billing statement be received, and then secondly that the savings resulting from the elimination of the position, they are separate from the presentation you heard, and I think they need to be dealt with this evening. If I can, I believe the Corporate Services Manager needs that, Director needs that dealt with. Yeah, and Council has not dealt with them. If I can ask you to look at that under the unfinished business, that would be 6A, the report from the Director, Report 2015-018. You've got KEC 0. It's not dealing with the position, it's dealing with the report. Bill's ready to speak to it.
Councillor Casero and then Deputy Mayor Melange.
I'll move receipt of the report and move the recommendations.
Okay. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item 8, correspondence, Committee of Adjustment meeting for October 20th, 2015, and this is the agenda for that meeting.
Okay, Councillor Bundy and Councillor Snively, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item B is from the Town of Perry Sound regarding a resolution for Lifeline Syria donations.
Councillor Bundy?
Move and support if we have the funds in our council contingency. Do we?
Supported by Councillor Caxero with comment. Bill?
Through you to Councillor Bondi, how much are you suggesting? Because they're urging us to, okay.
Okay, anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Item C, Ministry of Citizenship, Immigration, and International Trades for the June Caldwell Outstanding Achievement Award for Volunteerism in Ontario, and they're asking for nominations.
Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship, I don't know if we ever put forth any names on behalf of council, and it just struck me when I was reading this. Could we potentially put forth, if we get this on a yearly basis, whoever won Citizen of the Year as a nominee from the town? Just a question.
I believe it would be possible to put anyone's name in there. Yes, sir. Why not? Yep. Deputy Mayor Melange.
I was going to say that there's a lot of paperwork involved in filing a nominee too, so it's something that we'd have to know. Administrative staff would have to take the time to do that and find out the background in that.
Would you like us? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Phillips? Sorry.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. I know in past we've had discussion on the Citizen of the Year. It's very often, although we've had appointees from further outside the Essex Centre area, it's often an Essex Centre-centric person that's nominated. So I would challenge that if it's somebody from the entire catchment area, from the entire township, that it be beyond whoever is nominated as Citizen of the Year. Citizen of the Year may be somebody that has not necessarily done volunteerism as well. I'm not certain on that, but I'm not sure their criteria that they use. We don't control that. That's done by the Optimists and others. So.
Councillor Bjorkman and Deputy Mayor Melange.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would think maybe what we could do is, this is something we could put on our website, make our community aware of it, and if somebody, because we don't need to necessarily have that, so if somebody wants to, thinks somebody's volunteered well in the community, they could take that upon themselves to send in nominations, but we could make them aware of it that way.
Sir, Deputy Mayor Melange?
Thank you, Your Worship. I was going to basically say the same thing. Let's make sure our organizations within the town know that this nomination's available, and all of us are part of various organizations. We all belong to clubs or committees where we know of certain individuals who go above and beyond. I think if we want to nominate somebody, any one of us could nominate somebody through the organizations that we belong to ourselves, rather than the town have to do it. The other thing is, if we do it as a town, it's almost saying you're the Citizen of the Year for the entire community, and rather than council pick it, it would be better if the people from the community picked it. I prefer not to be that person that picks, because there's so many deserving people. How do you pick one person?
Thank you, sir. Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship, it's exactly what I was hoping for. Some stimulated conversation amongst council, and everybody had very good points. So I'll move receipt of this and that it be advertised on our webpage.
Moved and supported. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.